Greetings from Spirit Quest Sedona Retreats, the place for healing, self-growth, and relationship repair. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome everybody. So glad that you're here. Today I wanted to talk about something that has completely changed the way we understand healing, anxiety, trauma, and relationships, and even spirituality. It's called the Polyvagal Theory. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. It may sound like something from a neuroscience textbook, but really at its heart, it's actually very simple. More importantly, understanding it may help explain something many people have wondered for years. Why is it that I know what I need to do, but I still can't seem to change? It's like we study and we learn and we listen to podcasts and we read self-help books, we go to therapy, we practice affirmations, we talk to friends, but we still can't shift those deeper-seated patterns. We still can't stop from overthinking, overanalyzing, shutting down, people-pleasing, becoming so anxious or reacting in ways that, we wish that we didn't. If that sounds like you, I want to begin with good news. You are not broken. Your nervous system is not broken. Your nervous system has just simply learned how to protect you, and it's doing a really good job. And the beautiful part of it is that what has been learned can also be relearned. And that is the work that we're doing, is really helping to get more awareness and understanding. So understanding the polyvagal theory is very helpful. It was developed by a neuroscientist named Dr. Stephen Porges. And it explains that your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment, asking one simple question: am I safe? This happens automatically, thousands of times a day, long before your conscious mind is aware of it. It's constantly scanning, the hypervigilance. And most people think they make decisions based primarily on logic and reasoning. But the reality is much of what we think, feel, does begin with whether our nervous system senses safety or danger. And I'm sure you're probably conscious and aware of that. What's fascinating is that it isn't only scanning for physical danger, it's also asking questions like, am I accepted? Will I be rejected? That's a big one. Oh, can I trust this person? Am I enough? Is it safe to express how I really feel? Do I really belong here? Am I understood? These questions are often shaped by our earliest experiences. If you grew up feeling criticized, emotionally unseen, abandoned, or as though love was conditional, your nervous system may have learned that being vulnerable is not safe. Even decades later, those old survival patterns can continue operating beneath your awareness. So think of your nervous system like a thermostat. Many people believe they should simply think positive or have more willpower, but your nervous system does not work like that. It isn't just sheer, positive thinking or mindset. So imagine a thermostat. A thermostat does not decide what temperature the room should be. It simply just responds to what it senses. Your nervous system works the same way. It's constantly evaluating your surroundings and adjusting your body accordingly. If it senses safety, you relax. If it senses danger, you prepare to survive. And the challenge is that sometimes it mistakes today's situations for yesterday's wounds. So it can really cause a big shift in, the way that you're responding to day-to-day situations, constantly bringing the past to the forefront, living in that past, state, if you will, versus really being in the present moment. So the 3 states of the nervous system is, the one that we really want to strive for is feeling safe and connected. This is where healing naturally really begins. That's where, practices like hypnotherapy can be so beneficial to really get into that state of rest and relax, where you feel safe and connected. Your nervous system really helps to give you signals like you're calm. You've got, you're curious, you're creative, you feel compassion, you feel empathy, you have laughter, you have emotional openness, you have healthy, heartfelt communication. You can have that active listening where you can really be present for others. You feel resilient and strong, and you have that clear discernment and thinking. You have that clarity where you're able to make decisions and not be so scattered and overwhelmed that you can't even make a simple decision, or even just driving stresses you out so badly that you're road raging and flipping people off. But this is a natural healing state. It's not something you have to earn. It's something that your nervous system remembers when it feels safe. So fight or flight, of course, I'm sure everyone is aware of fight or flight. It's when your nervous system detects danger. It activates your survival response. So that's the thing. So fight or flight is always putting you in the survival mode. So you feel anxious, you're panicking, racing thoughts, overthinking, overanalyzing, being a perfectionist, being irritable, feeling anger, overworking, overfixating, people pleasing, constantly trying to stay busy, or that hypervigilant state. And so your body's really not trying to sabotage you. Your nervous system's not trying to sabotage you. It's really all about, as I've been saying, about protection. The problem is that many of us stay in this state long after the danger has passed. That's the problem. It's bringing the past problem into the present moment. So it's always usurping or taking away your presence, the moment. And in the present moment is where so much beauty exists. That is where everything is unfolding and there's miracles occurring. There's limitless potential occurring in the present moment. But if these activations keep occurring and we're in these states, we're always being pulled backward. Another state is the freeze or shutting down. And that's one I definitely know very well. That's the state that I go into when I'm triggered. I just want to shrink and disappear and go Tharn. My voice box shrivels into nothing, and I want to become invisible or shrink so small that I just say, okay, it's fine. Don't worry. I'll do it. Yes, it's fine. Don't worry. And just swallowing my feelings and swallowing how I should feel and just, shrinking. Don't make waves. It can feel exhausting. You can really start to become emotionally numb. You feel hopeless. You feel disconnected. You feel isolated, like nobody on this earth understands you. You have a complete lack of motivation. You have a lot of difficulty making decisions. You're so used to being a hump of clay and acquiescing and shifting and changing and shrinking that it makes it really hard to find your voice. It makes it really hard to have that discernment, making decisions. And you feel emotionally flat. You've been told over and over that your emotions don't matter. You don't matter. You've got to go turn invisible. And so your emotions become invisible and you get so disconnected. And sometimes people can criticize themselves, or people can criticize people who are in this state with looking lazy, or, maybe watching a lot of like binge watching Netflix. Those are like forms of escape to get, when you're feeling in this freeze. And you could start thinking, gosh, I'm lazy. What's wrong with me? And really the most important thing is to muster up that self-compassion and really stepping into that place of, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just my nervous system is overwhelmed. And when you know that you have a nervous system that is not regulating properly, it really helps you to have that self-compassion. That self-love is so important. And really understanding that your body has this deep and powerful innate wisdom. The body really does, keep the score. It does remember. One of the most important things to understand is that your body remembers experiences differently than your thinking mind does. So you may consciously know that your partner loves you, yet the nervous system remembers what it feels like to be criticized and not accepted as a child. So when your partner simply says, "Hey, can we talk after work today?" your heart races, you start overthinking. You don't even have time to really be present for what it could mean. Your shoulders tense, your breathing changes, you become defensive already. Your heart starts pounding, you start racing into all these things. Oh my gosh, what could this be about? They're always chastising me, and why can't I ever be good enough? And it's because your nervous system is responding to old information. Your body is trying to protect you based on what was learned years and years ago. So trauma isn't only about what happened. Okay. This is one of the greatest misunderstandings about trauma. Trauma isn't always defined by the event itself. It's also about what your nervous system learned about that event. Okay, so two people can experience the same exact situation. One person can adapt and recover relatively quickly, right? The other person is going to struggle for years and years and years. And why? Why? Because your nervous system is different. Each and every one of us is very, very different and unique. Healing really isn't about comparing the experience. It's really about understanding how your unique nervous system adapts or doesn't adapt. And that's the most important piece. That's why a custom designed experience like with Spirit Quest is so important, is because we are built like an amazing, incredible, brilliant old house. And every single piece of us is constructed with unique wood, unique nails, unique rooms, unique insulation, all the wiring, the nervous system is set up totally different. The lights don't even turn off in certain rooms. The lights are way too bright and fluorescent in other rooms. And so we are unique creatures, and that's why we need to really do custom designed individual healing work. But, if you can't make it to a retreat, I totally understand that. I'll give you some tips and tools on what to do. But one thing is really important, especially now, in 2026, is really looking at the world that we live in and the frenetic energy that is the present times. We live in a dysregulated world. So our ancestors experienced danger in short little bursts. A threat appeared, they survived, their body returned to safety. Lots of times they were moving too constantly, which a lot of times, nature, animals will shake out the trauma from the body. We don't necessarily do that. Today, many of us experience constant bombardment, right? We've got emails, we've got notifications, we've got breaking news, financial stress, work demands, social media, information overload, lack of sleep, very, very little quiet. How often do we really sit in silence? I have a newborn. And so one thing I've noticed is that with all the stimulation, all the toys, he's about 12 weeks old. Actually, today he's 12 weeks old. He's always learning that there's all this stimuli. We've got the TV going, or we've got music. He's got toys, he's got shakers, he's got stuffed animals. He's got all these things. He's got a new tummy time mat. And I really had the download to stop all of that. And let him just be with himself. Let him just be with himself. Maybe he could discover his body. Maybe he could start learning to connect with himself, his body, learning that he can regulate himself with his breath. He can regulate himself with his own thoughts, that he's safe and okay without all the distraction. See, it starts when we're very, very young. And so we really want to give ourselves permission to just rest. because eventually that survival state of go, 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 of constant activation starts to be normalized. And so we don't even realize that we're living in this constant bombardment of activation, being stimulated. So when we're not in that constant activated state, we can start feeling like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. And we can start spinning stories, making things up, overanalyzing. Oh, well, let's start chewing on this thing that's maybe not even real, And so the beautiful, incredible news is that all of our nervous systems we're adaptable creatures. I think more than we even realize, we're very, very adaptable. We can go through a tremendous amount. And believe me, after all the years I've worked here, 15 years, I've heard so many stories of just the most incredible resilience. Humans are truly, truly incredible beings. Looking at it from a spiritual perspective, I know I've said this, but we are spiritual beings, soul beings having a human experience. And so our nervous system is part of the embodiment. It's part of our body. And sometimes we forget that we are souls, and not to get tricked into thinking that we are sinking underneath, that we don't have control over the sensations of the nervous system. So it learned survival, right? So it can also learn safety. Healing isn't about becoming someone different or trying to escape or move away. It's about really teaching the body that the danger has passed, teaching the body that we have already gone through that. We're safe now. We're okay. We're not getting abused anymore. We're not in that horrible state of childhood. We're actually able to teach the body that we're safe and we're in this present moment where we can trust, where we can be safe, where we can be present, where we can be in alignment, where we can be in congruence, where we can have healthy, supportive, beautiful, trustful thoughts, where our health is being, at its prime. Because one way to look at it too is that we only get a certain amount of prana, chi, life force each day. And so think about how much energy it's taking to be in that constant activated state. It is taking so much of the bandwidth or of the chi that, of course, you're exhausted. See how it makes sense if you put it into that context. And so here's some thing that so many people need to hear. So healing doesn't actually happen through one dramatic breakthrough. Okay, so it's going to happen through hundreds of small moments, small experiences that are going to gently tell your nervous system you're safe now. That's where it's so important, to go through retreat or do some deep healing work. You've got to go and clear and do the work of the childhood work or the ancestral work or the wound work, and then really helping you to slowly come up with that practice, that discipline over time that really teaches, not in a way of, I have to do more things. It's about in a place of true acceptance of these big, huge hugs all throughout the day. While you're at work, while you're driving home, while you're getting ready, you look in the mirror and you just, all this love and acceptance comes pouring out. You do that in ways of clearing your plate, not over-promising, really getting comfortable with saying the most incredible word in the world, and that's no. No, thanks. No, I don't need to go actually do that. I really appreciate the invitation. But, I think I want to keep my weekend clear. I think that would feel really nice to just let me just kind of have the whole weekend to myself. But has nothing to do with you, maybe next time. But I think this weekend I really would enjoy just having that space and that time for myself. But thank you so much. So let's really talk about how you can start to heal yourself at home. You can do it. You have more power than you realize. So let's do it right now. So let's slow our breath, okay? Let's slow the exhale. Okay, so your breath is one of the fastest ways to communicate with your nervous system. Right here, right now. Try breathing in through your nose for 4 counts. Then slowly exhale for 6 or even 8. The longer the exhale, that gently is going to signal to your body to relax. If slow breathing makes you feel uncomfortable, do not force it, just simply breathe naturally and allow your exhale to slowly lengthen. Gradually over time, one thing that's really great, and we do teach this in our orientation here at Spirit Quest, is that we teach you how to do the ha. HA sound is very important for the nervous system. So, you can use your breath in and then go ha. Do it right now with me. So the HA sound, like ha 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 ha, is a beautiful sound of laughter, a beautiful sound that really helps to calm and kind of pacify and heal and calm the nervous system. It's also the first words that I've noticed that my son has made. He's making the ha, and I hear lots of babies do that they start off with a ha. And so if we can keep that innocence and that sound coming out of our mouths, it's important to, really hear your own voice. You don't have to do it around people, have some quiet time and really, let yourself make a sound on the way out. It's a really great thing to do at work. Take 5 minutes, do the inhale, and let it go. Let it go. Another thing to do is really ground yourself in the present moment. I've mentioned that quite a bit, if, really being in the present moment. When you're starting to feel anxious, you're starting to feel your throat kind of tighten and your chest get heavy and your heart's pounding. And you just feel so activated. Just stop. Take 5 minutes, look around. Notice 5 things that you can see. Okay, I see my phone. I see some mints. I see a stapler. I see my Post-it notes, so forth. And 4 things you can feel. Okay, I do feel some tingling in my scalp. I feel my throat is kind of tight. My heart is pounding. And my feet are pulsating a bit. 3 things you can hear. I hear my refrigerator. I can hear the electricity humming in the walls. And I can hear my heartbeat in my chest. 2 things you can smell. I smell a faint essential oil. And I do smell a really beautiful, fresh smell of the rain that came last night. One thing you can taste, become aware of the bodily sensations. Okay, I can taste my mouth. It tastes a little metallic. But, connecting with your senses really gives you a place of power, a point of power, because that's your body. We don't want to escape the body and being just always in the mental state. We want to drop in. Grounding reminds our nervous system that we are here in the present moment. We're not back in that old experience. So when you feel yourself, getting activated, try to do that exercise there. So the most important thing is remember that nature is the master practitioner, the grand healer, the ancient shaman. Right? Nature is the terra firma underneath our feet. She is the one we can trust. She's going to hold our feet. She's unmovable. She's an immovable piece of earth that constantly will hold our feet. So she's the one thing we can trust with our weight, our whole being. She's the one thing that can hold this brilliance, which is us, which we are part of the grand design, the grand experiment, the grand divinity that is nature. And so connecting with that, really being present and grounding into nature is such a powerful way to get us to get reconnected, bonded back with our Mama Earth. Going back to the baby analogy, babies love what? Skin to skin, right? When they come out, they want to snuggle up to Mama. No skin, no yucky clothes. Let's connect with skin to skin. We need to have that with our Mother Earth. No matter how old we are, no matter where we're at, we need to take those shoes and socks off and go get those feet in the grass. We need to take our hands and actually touch a tree. We need to spend time and commune in nature. Nature brings us, right into that present moment where we can listen to the birds. Leave that phone away. Get the social media away from the nervous system. It's not good for our nervous system. Technology, social media, the electricity, all the Wi-Fi, everything that's going on through the ethers. We need a ground. It's so important. Walk slowly. Notice the breeze. Feel the warmth of the sun. Observe the trees. Watch the clouds. Hey, and maybe, a little something can come up and remind you of maybe some medicine that that nature wants to tell you. So for me, just the other day, I could have just rushed right into work, not even thinking, being all stressed and carrying a million things and trying to multitask with my phone. But I stopped. I took one moment, and guess what? There was the most beautiful family of javelina just right here at the center. And there was like 3 little baby javelinas. They're the cutest little things. They're from the peccary family, but they look like little pigs. And so one was real excited and jumping around and kicking its little cute little hooves around and rolling around. And then there was another little baby that was really calm and astute and just taking it all in and sort of irritated with its, brother or sister. And then they would come and they would suckle at mom. And it was really a beautiful affirmation for me that, as being a mother breastfeeding, just like, wow, like, look at this family. That is just the most purest, beautiful thing. The power of the mother and what feeding her young, just how amazing that is. And it just reminded me of being part of that. And I just had so much respect. Well, it's just overwhelming, sometimes. So if you're present, you can really see these little beautiful things. Maybe a cardinal comes in to say hello, or a coyote comes in your path and giving you messages. There's a lot in the animal kingdom, a lot of wisdom in the animal world that can really teach us a lot if we really pay attention to the signs and symbols of nature. There's a lot of power and healing in that. Which I could talk forever about that, but so another thing with the nervous system regulation is please reduce the constant stimulation. That's one thing that you can do right here, right now. So notice what happens when your day begins, with emails, news, social media, even before you've even jumped on your feet to get out the door, your nervous system has already began reacting and storing. So instead of giving yourself this quiet presence in the morning, you're already jumping into this, fight or flight or freeze state, because we are very tapped into our collective. So we need to really remember to breathe, to stretch. You could pray or meditate, journal, pull some cards. If you like pulling cards, you can do that. You want to start with giving yourself that time with yourself before you invite the whole world in. Also, laughter can be very healing. So if you can start with a smile, just laughing, smiling at some, cute kitties, or, just really take a few moments to be with a loved one. Touch each other, hug each other, and say, I love you. I'm present here with you. Or sit with yourself, put your hand on your heart, and just say, you know what? I love you. Or do some mirror work, go in the bathroom and just take a second, shut the door. If you have a really busy family, shut the door, lock it, and just take 5 minutes to sit there and say, hey, hi, Jess. How are you today? You are so beautiful. I just love you. You are so incredible. Your heart is just so pure, so beautiful. Look how amazing. Look at your integrity. Look at your authenticity. Look at how much you've grown. Wow, you're a fierce woman. You are so resilient. Those types of things really helps to improve that relationship that you have with yourself. And so, another piece is moving. It's so important. I can't stress that enough. I've heard that you can't move through it without moving through it, which is so true. So you can't move through an emotional pain or a blockage without literally moving through it. So stress doesn't only live in the mind, you feel it all over your body, and our body is constantly sharing messages with us, of places that we're stuck and locked in and tense, and holding our jaws, our necks, our upper backs, that spot beneath, upper back scapula, woo, Oh yeah, that's a big spot for a lot of people. So get out, walk, stretch, do yoga, dance, just shaking out arms and legs. Shake it out, get it out. Movement reminds our nervous system that it has the ability to move through activation instead of remaining stuck. Okay. So let's just replace the judgment with curiosity. So instead of feeling like, well, what in the world's wrong with me? Try asking, what is my incredible, powerful nervous system trying to protect me from in this moment? That one question changes everything. It replaces shame with compassion. Healing begins with curiosity, really exploring and not criticism. There's no room for criticism. It's like, oh, let's be curious about this. Okay, so let's build safe relationships. We heal in connection. I know we try to do a lot of self-help stuff by ourselves, but we have to connect with others. We need to spend time with people who really listen and see us, who respect our boundaries. We need to spend time with people who encourage our growth, who allow us to be authentic, who make us feel seen, heard, valued. People who can be present with us, people we look up to. Mentorship is really great if we can find a mentor or a really good friend. Of course, working with, practitioners or healers or doing sessions is always great. Make sure they're well vetted, make sure they're, a reputable company. It's important to do that because sometimes working with others, it's a very high honor and they need to be very integral in their place of working with others. So our nervous systems learn safety through repeated experiences of safe connection. So bonding, connecting, learning that, oh, people are safe, humans are safe, I can trust you, you didn't let me down. But we want to make sure that we're not misplacing our trust or, we want to be smart about that. So, don't spend time with people who dismiss you or demean you or don't respect your boundaries, those types of things. So create daily moments of stillness. So it's not about doing more. We want to do less. Like I was mentioning earlier, sit quietly, pray, meditate. Hey, go out, watch a sunrise or a sunset. Listen to calming music. Get comfortable with the word no. No, I don't. No, thank you. I don't need to go out tonight. Make choices that aren't about people pleasing. It's about really honoring where you're at in your growth at this time. Okay, getting comfortable with not adding more on the plate. It's not about placing your value in how much you do or how much you accomplish. Really let that sink in. Your value is not in what you do or what you accomplish. Your value is within your innate beauty, your intrinsic values that are unique and profound and divine. That is it. Okay, that's we don't need to be looking outside of ourselves for that validation. It's not about shaming ourselves if we do it. It's just that spiritual awareness of, okay, I see I do that. Okay. So another piece is our food. I know it's tough. It's tough. I'm not the best at it. Just having a baby, I'm just kind of cramming whatever I can in my mouth. But our nervous system really does depend on the basics, the foods we eat, how much water we drink, how much we're sleeping. Notice how caffeine affects you. I know it's a tough one. I just love my coffee too, but really sit with that. Is this really serving my highest good? Does this really activate my nervous system when I'm drinking alcohol? Is this okay? How does this affect my nervous system when I smoke some pot? I know these are all legal things. Caffeine, alcohol, THC. Just pay attention to what you're ingesting. They're not trivial. It's really important because, we really want to make sure that we're nourishing and soothing and calming our system and really showing ourselves that we honor ourselves by what we ingest. So remember that healing is not linear. There's going to be days when you feel calm and centered and happy and joyful. There's going to be times when old patterns return. Doesn't mean that you failed, just means you're human. It's going to probably be a constant throughout the rest of our lives, where we're constantly seeing these things and working. It's about meeting them more and more, and it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier. And so we really want to be mindful. And so I want to leave you with this. Your nervous system is not your enemy. Every anxious thought, every urge to run and escape, every moment you shut down, every time you people please, every time that you react, in a way you wish that you didn't. At one point, those responses probably did help you survive. That's the thing. So it did serve you at one point. So rather than fighting yourself or fighting your nervous system, you want to begin building a relationship with it. What if instead of asking, why am I like this, you gently asked, what happened that taught my body that this was necessary? Okay, so it's all about that self-compassion, really being present with ourselves, having that self-compassion, and, little by little with patience and practice, with supportive relationships, moments of safety, your nervous system begins to trust. Trust, your mind becomes clearer, your body softens, your relationships deepen, your spirit feels lighter. The energy you once spent on surviving becomes available for you to start thriving and living, because healing doesn't happen when you become someone new. Healing happens when you remember who you are before the fear came in, before the trauma, before that ever convinced you to forget. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who may need this reminder. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Trust the wisdom deep within you, that innate wisdom. Remember that you're capable of healing one small moment of safety at a time. And here at Spirit Quest, we're dedicated to you and your healing. In connection with others, we build a tribe of people that can surround and support you at the deepest, most profound level. If you want to deep dive into your nervous system, reset, to reheal, to reset, renew, let's turn into use this time to celebrate. Let's move into celebration mode, moving from chaos and lack and stress and worry and nervous system overwhelm and exhaustion to really stepping into our power and having just this abundant, beautiful, incredibly nourishing life. Give us a call. I would be so honored to connect with you. We do lengthy consultations in the forefront of the retreat, so we can really peel back all those incredible layers of you that are so beautiful, and really understanding how you operate, how your house is built and wired and all of that, so we can, maybe let go and deconstruct some of those pieces that are built with faulty pieces, faulty beliefs, faulty, old wood that needs to be kind of chipped on out and rebuilt, and lay a real good, healthy foundation of, intimacy and trust and self-esteem and spiritual, power. And if you're not into spirituality, that's totally cool too. We're really into shamanic work, which is, more science and physics and nature-based. So a healing retreat with Spirit Quest will change your life. And guess what? You deserve it.